Water is going to be incredibly short. So, we're long on water in total, but we're short on fresh water. Fresh water represents, usable fresh water is less than 1% of the water available on Earth. So, it starts sort of scarce. And then we're using it at a rate that just doesn't work with a growing population. So, predictions are 40 to 50% shortage between supply and demand anywhere in the next 15 to 20 years. And you already have major material shortages in key parts of the Earth. And so you can go to Sudan where it's in crisis, but you can find these issues in the United States as well. Almost, as I mentioned earlier, all industrial processes that use water were designed when water was viewed as free and plentiful. And it's neither anymore. It's becoming more expensive and it's certainly not plentiful. So it's redesigning these processes. How do you make more with less? How do you understand this? We're focusing a lot on, shower heads and low flow toilets, but home use is, less than 10% of the use. The big use is agriculture and industrial. And that's the area we really need to pay attention to going forward. So this take care of the small things, the big things will take care of themselves is not a mantra that always works. And we really have to get after the big uses of water. And we'll do it one way or another. It'll either be a crisis, and we'll have to deal with it from a crisis mentality, or we do it proactively. And I would say some companies are proactive, some are waiting for the tap to go dry.
How can we reduce water in agriculture, for instance? What are some of the steps that could be taken?
Well, there's two big known technologies. One is drip irrigation, which reduces evaporation dramatically. It's literally dripping at the crop roots as opposed to sprinkling and other methods of irrigation where you have a lot of evaporative loss. And water doesn't turn into anything else, it remains water. But the problem is when it evaporates, it turns into a cloud and 70% of the rain falls in the ocean and turns into salt water. That's the challenge. So you reduce evaporation, but the other technology is, God forbid, we've created a devil scenario, GMOs. Right, the technology that GMOs are, really the root of it is how do you grow crops in more arid environments using less water, because we're going to need to feed 9 billion people. And I'd say, unfortunately, the conversation on GMOs, I have no skin in the game personally, is really shrill and not well understood. And so the same people who complain about GMOs are not following science. And they're the ones legitimately complaining about many on climate change not following science. And I agree with both. And so we're going to have to use new technology, or you're not going to feed 9 billion people. You're going to have to deforest the balance of the earth given the current crop technology to feed them. So we're faced with some challenges and choices that we're going to have to go make, and we need to make them with our eyes wide open and understanding what the choices really are. And I would say, then if you're really interested in solving the world's biggest problems, you can't do that without big business. It's not going to happen. So these big scale challenges like water, like food, feeding 9 billion people, like many things, I think environmental challenges, who's going to invent the molecule that's going to replace oil? Right, which needs to be invented. We do not have the solution yet for energy. Oil is projected to grow in the most bearish forecast through 2040. It's not shrinking, it's not going away, because there's no invention to take it away. And if you stop oil right now, what you're going to stop is feeding people, because most of it's used in agriculture. Right? Nobody wants to make that trade. And I'm against carbon in the air, not against carbon. But we got to figure out what the challenges are and what we want to do. But my pitch is, you want to go make a difference. We need people inventing and solving these problems and then being able to produce at scale and help solve challenges at scale. Because global warming is, of all challenges, a scale challenge, right? It's going to be very hard to do from a small nonprofit. It's not going to happen. And I'm for nonprofits. But every place has got its role. And we got to understand how we're going to go solve these things and what the challenges are and what tools you put against them to create the solutions to these issues. So join big business, solve the world's big problems.